Hi, I'm Oswald, and today I'll be showing you how to configure a private endpoint for a storage account. In our previous video, I showed you how service endpoints are configured for a storage account, and more so, I explained how service endpoints work. So if you are getting to disconnect every public access to your storage account, you can now leave a dedicated VIP pass for a special group of devices. In this case, maybe a subnet that has virtual machines so they can all access the resources in your storage account. However, unlike service endpoints that extend your virtual network to Azure storage services, private endpoints assign a private IP address to that resource, and it therefore enables secure access through a virtual network. So private endpoints focus on private internal access. Keyword there is internal. So while service points enhance secure connectivity to those services, private endpoints gives you secure access to the internal network. So it excludes everything and keeps it internal. So in a private endpoint, you are creating a virtual NIC, a network interface card for that your resource. In this case, this is the storage account, and that virtual NIC is given an IP from the particular subnet in your virtual network and is being attached to this resource. That way, the resource itself is like a member of that group, a member of that subnet. So resources in that subnet can easily connect to the storage account with a low latency, high bandwidth connectivity. So and you're on the same network. So let me go in and show you how this is in the portal. So here in the Azure portal, we have our storage account. And in the previous video, we had configured a service endpoint and we turned off access from every other device apart from the devices in that subnet. So this is what I mean. I'm going to come down here to networking, and you can see we had enabled the network access was enabled from selected virtual networks, and we gave access to just vNIC virtual network, and this is a subnet that had access, and we had a VM that was connected to this subnet access data in this storage account via the storage explorer. But now we're going to have to use a private endpoint to do the same. What do we mean? Assuming we have a party and it's a event that anyone can come, and you have tickets for everyone to buy. People can come in via the public access. I made this analogy when we're talking about the service endpoint. Now, for the service endpoint, it means that you have a VIP access for VIP guests to come in. However, in the private endpoint, it means that you're not having anyone come in. You're not having access for VIPs. It's just a small group of people. It's a closed group kind of meeting. Is based on I know you kind of thing. You don't just come and buy tickets. So it's your price. It's like a group of friends, just a group of friends kind of thing. And in this case, let's use an analogy here. It means everyone else has no access. Only people who really know you can come for that event. So in this case, the storage account can only communicate with devices it knows personally and it belongs to the same network with. In service endpoints, we gave access to a particular virtual network subnet to come in and interact and access and communicate with the storage account. In this case, that's not possible. In this case, we are making the storage account itself a resource, a device in the virtual network. So we're going to be assigning a virtual NIC, a networking interface card to this storage account, and it's going to be part of a subnet. That way, resources like virtual machines in that subnet can access data in this storage account. So I'm going to go ahead and deactivate this service endpoint. So I'll come here and remove service endpoint and just enable from all networks just for now. And I'll save this. Okay, I've saved that. Then I'll come to our VNet. You can see we have our service endpoint here. Macri. We can still build our network, our private endpoint on this same subnet, but I want to make you see that we're not using the service endpoint at all. I'll just come here and remove, I'll delete this service endpoint. You could also do that if you came to the subnet and then you came to subnet C and then you deactivated it from here. Although that's already happening in the background, it's already done. So if you want to go through this part, you just come down to service endpoints and you delete it here. So it's already done. It's just showing because it was before it loaded. If I come back there again, you would see that that change has been done. So if you scroll down here, you see service endpoint. There's nothing there. Except you want to add a new one. So that's done. So right now we can have access to this storage account from anywhere. Proof is this is my service, my storage explorer in my host computer. So I'm going to just refresh. And you're going to see we have container called container. We have a container that is called Singapore, and inside Singapore I have pictures of places in Singapore. I'm going to come back here just to confirm to you containers in our storage account. This is the storage account in Azure portal. We have Singapore, and if I go in there, we have our blobs. So now I'm going to go ahead and disable access. Remember, I want to have a private meeting or a private access. So when we turn on this private endpoint, what it does is it creates a NIC for our resource. In this context, we're talking about our storage account, and it attaches this resource to our network basically. So it gives it an IP from the subnet we want to use, and this gives it low latency, high bandwidth connectivity to that virtual network and the resources in that particular subnet. So it's just amazing. So I'm going to go back here and we'll come down to networking, and here we will disable all public access. So public access to this storage account has been disabled. Please create a private endpoint connection to grant access. So it's already telling you that if you do this, no one will have access. Only people who know you. Like, you have to create a private endpoint. So we have to come ahead and come here and save this. Now we have disabled public access, so no one can access this. That means this device here, my storage explorer, shouldn't be able to access this anymore. So I'm going to just come here and try to access it from here. So you see, this request is not authorized to perform. This request is not authorized to perform this operation. So because of the authentication is not done. So I'll just go ahead and go back to my storage account. Now I have no access. How do I have access? You create a private endpoint. Now here you can see you can add a private endpoint. And I don't have anyone here. We're going to click here and create one. Now I want you to know that one virtual network can have multiple private endpoints, even multiple from one subnet. So I'm going to just come here and create one. And you should note that NSG rules that are applied to your subnet do not affect your private endpoint by default. So if you want to set the rules to manage access still, you have to configure it yourself. So I'm going to come here. I'll leave everything else as is. I'll just give it a name, simple name. I'll call it PE1. So you see, it creates a network interface card with the name PE1 NIC, and my favorite region, East US. I'll click on next. It automatically fills this up for you because you're creating it from the storage account itself. So it says your resource type is a storage account, and the resource itself is a C2 storage. That's the name of my storage account. What's your target sub resource? You have the options. Is it a blob? Is it a table? Is it a queue? Is it a file? Is it a data lake storage? Like, is it web? I need to use a blob because my containers are blobs. Containers store blob storage. So we'll go ahead and click on next virtual network. What virtual network do you want to assign this to? If I had more, maybe I'll have options. I have just one virtual network for now, so this will be it. And you see, by default, it's choosing subnet A. I do not want to use subnet A because I have a VM in subnet C. I want to use subnet C, so I'll choose subnet C, and we'll go ahead and have dynamically allocate IP address for this private endpoint. So I might just leave it as it is because it's a member of that network. It should be able to communicate. However, for other reasons, you might want to give it a static IP. You click on static IP, give it a name, and give the private, as in state the private IP that you want to use for this private endpoint. But I'll stick with dynamically allocated IP address. So I'll move forward from there and click on DNS. Now by default, Azure will create a private DNS for you for this resource. So this is the private DNS zone, this private link for this particular resource. I'll just go ahead and add my tags, and then we create this. As usual, click on owner and the Oswald and review and create. Validation pass, I'll go ahead and create. So now our resource has been created. I'll go to the resource itself just to show you. Here we have, by overview, would see resource group, you see virtual network it belongs to, you would see the private link resource. Now our resource is the storage account, so this is the NIC that's allocated. If you want to see the private IP that's given to this, I'll just click on this and open it directly. Welcome to IP configurations. So you can see it's been given an IP address from that range from C, so from MACRE and subnet C we have been given an IP address from that range, and this is what is used to link that storage account to our subnet, our network, our vNet. So that's what we're using. I'm going to just come back here to I'll go quickly to home and then come to our storage account. So here in the storage account, if I come down to networking, we still have network disabled, but if I come to private endpoint here, you see we have a connection to this, and that connection is approved. This is a private endpoint, is auto approved. So we can, it means that we have direct access to communicate with this storage account. So remember this other, my storage explorer in my host computer can't have access because it's been blocked permanently. But let's go to our VM that is still open right now and link the same. Let's try and link it up again. I had detached this earlier, so I'm going to just come add a new one. So come here to access keys. I could use the SaaS also, SaaS URL, but I just want to use the key. I'll come here and storage account name and key. Next, I'll paste my key right here and then go back and get the name of the storage account. So come back here and paste it. Okay, go ahead and click next and connect. So successfully added this new connection. So I'll click on next here. You see, it shows us the thing you couldn't see because we have a private link. The storage account is also in the same network, to be precise, the same subnet as this virtual machine, so they can communicate with each other. So this subnet can go ahead and view and do anything, even delete something, because it has direct access using the access key. So you can just go and delete something here, and it allows me to do all of that. So that is what private endpoints do for you. It links your Azure service to your virtual network via a private link, and then it gives it an IP address using the NIC. It attaches a NIC to that resource and gives it a private IP that is part of that subnet you're trying to work with. And that way is a private, low latency, and high bandwidth connectivity. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell button, and leave a comment. Share it with someone. See you in the next video.